Okay, y'all, we're gonna make some homemade biscuits, all right? So I got my nice little pottery bowl here that I got from my grandmother, and I'm going to use the White Lily brand flour, and this is the self-rising flour. That's what you want for your biscuits, unless you want to add in some baking soda and some salt. That will take your all-purpose flour to self-rising flour, just in case you didn't know that. Little point to ponder. We're going to also use some buttermilk, and we're going to use some Crisco. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our flour, and I'm going to say that we're probably using about, it's probably 3 cups of flour is what I'm going to say. And I'm going to make a little well in the middle of it. Now this is probably going to be more flour than I need, but we can always save the rest for later. So I've made a little, got a little messy there too. Now we're going to take a couple of little handfuls of this shortening. And by the way, I have my oven heating at 450 degrees. I'm going to take the equivalent of about 2 chicken eggs, as Barbara Gant says. All right, probably a little more than 1 there, that's okay. And we're going to take it and we're just going to piece it, like make it in pieces. Piece it up, is that a phrase? And as you do, you're going to be mixing that flour in with it until you have all of these little pieces and bits of the shortening, and it doesn't take long for this to happen. Try to keep one hand clean. Okay, if you can see, we've got little pieces here. And for the amount of flour that I have, so that we'll have some biscuits for tomorrow too, I'm gonna put just a little more of the shortening in. We'll get a spoon to do it with though, so I don't get flour all over in my shortening. So about another tablespoon. I figured out why my biscuits were not rising well. I was not putting enough shortening and enough buttermilk. Don't be afraid to use your shortening and your buttermilk with your flour. It's almost like they go together and form together according to the right amount of mixture that you have, shortening to flour. Okay, we've got this nice and crumbly. You can take some flour in your hand and it'll help get all that dough off of your hand. Okay, now this is all crumbly. Y'all see all those little crumbles? All right, we're gonna take it now and we're gonna pour some buttermilk in. We're gonna be very generous with it in this little well that we formed with our hand. I'm gonna say probably about 1.5 cups. And now we're gonna make a nice little muddy mixture to start with. And as we work with it, we're gonna just slowly drop some of the borders of that well down into that mix. And you're creating your dough. You'll know when it's ready, when it's not sticky anymore. I was gonna stop this video and make smaller bits of it. I can't talk as usual, but I decided, you know what? They might need to walk through this while they're doing it, so I'll just do the whole thing. You can fast forward it, put it on like 1.5 or 2, whatever suits you. I've also got a stoneware pizza pan that I'm going to put mine on. You can use your cast iron skillet. What I should have done was already greased it up though with my shortening, and I didn't do it. So we'll have to do that here in just a minute. but my oven is heating. You just have to kind of squeeze it out of your hand as you go, and just keep adding a little more flour because it'll get less sticky as you add the other flour to it. You just slowly add your flour to it. I'm gonna add a little more buttermilk, just because I know I put a lot of Crisco in there. And I still have plenty of flour to work in there. We might end up using all this flour, but we'll have extra biscuits that we can always make for tomorrow. Or have made for tomorrow. We could go ahead and cook them all tonight, couldn't we? Okay. All right, I'm gonna put some flour out on my cutting board that I'm using right now. You might have a pastry sheet, and if you do, by all means use it. I do too, rolled up right here in the corner. I just wasn't smart enough to start using it yet. All right, I've got a nice ball of dough here. We're gonna put some flour right here on the cutting board, and we're gonna drop that dough on it. And I'm gonna kind of clean my hands up with the flour. Because remember how I told you that you can kind of, what happens is that dry mix gets a hold of the wet mix and makes it just fall off. Now I'm going to use my clean hand, 2 fingers, and I'm just going to kind of clean it up. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Now, I'm gonna set that to, actually we're gonna take all those little doughy bits and we're gonna put that in our ball here. There's not gonna be hardly any dough left. I mean, any flour left over. And that's okay. And now we're just gonna kind of work it a little bit. You don't wanna overwork it, okay? Going good. I'm gonna put just a little more. Oh, there was a big chunk of dough still left in the bowl. I'm funny, I don't like to waste it, y'all. So we're just gonna kind of fold it. You don't have to work it like you do bread that's gonna rise, because this is not gonna be like one of those that has yeast that you have to wait and let it rise. And keep in mind, you want to cut it kind of thick with your biscuit cutter, because it's not going to rise a whole lot, okay? Okay, y'all, I think we got a nice, looks like a big old pizza, doesn't it? We're just going to kind of spread it out. I'm just going to flip it over. Okay. All right, we're going to get our biscuit cutter. And I have my granny's old-fashioned biscuit cutter. Look at that baby. We're going to grease my pizza pan. And if we need a skillet as well, if I have too many for this pan, we'll grease up my cast iron as well. Now we're going to start cutting them. Can you see what I'm doing? They're kind of thick. And remember, my oven is on 450. I'm going to take and melt some butter here before I put it in the oven. And I'm just going to brush the tops with butter. I saw that on a TikTok and I thought I would try it. I'll try it with you. How you like that? If you're local and you ever want to come to my house and let me show you how to cook, I would love to. We're getting there, y'all. Then we'll take all these scraps and we'll ball them all up, pat them back out, and we'll make a few more. We might have to fill up this little skillet I have over here. We'll see. They may all fit on here. So far I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's only 4 of us eating tonight, but I could take some over to my neighbor as well. She's not been doing too good. And we've got room for a few more. I'm gonna put just a little bit of flour on this part because it's a little sticky. You could also have held this out and rolled it out and made you some fried pies with it. I don't have any apples, or I might consider doing that. I don't think I have any fruit. I do have some blueberries. I could have made blueberry fried pies, but I still can. Okay. That's 12, 13, 14, and I think we've got room for one more. And that'll be this one right here. And we'll just plop that right down in there. That worked almost perfect, didn't it? Okay, we're gonna melt just a little bit of butter, and then we're gonna brush the top, and we're gonna put it back in the oven. Or put it in the oven, not back in the oven. Okay, I melted some butter, and now I'm just gonna brush the tops with it. And then we'll brush the tops again when they come out of the oven. You wouldn't find this in your healthiest choice of eats book, but I promise you it's healthier than the biscuits that you would buy at a fast food restaurant with that bacon and egg. Yeah, we're having breakfast for dinner tonight, and we're gonna put it in the oven for about 35 minutes.